What's up?
Ooh, that intro has a different head bob to it.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, I was trying to find some different music every now and then to kind of spice it up. Good
See,
evening, everybody. How are you? Hi, Say Wong. Hi, Stephen Harris is there. Hi, I'm here. Hi,
hello, Cam.
Cam. Hi,
Hello.
Kevin. Awesome hold time music. Yeah, that would be great if, like, when you call and you're on hold, high mixed, and you're on hold and it has like good music, just
Right.
like that elevator jazzy, like, la, 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 and you're like, hi, Matt. All right,
It's like that
guys.
one. There's that one beer commercial where like she's on hold, and then like the guy brings her a beer, and then they start dancing to the hold music.
Yes. Yes. Gosh, that would be nice. Just distribute a drink every time you're on hold forever.
Woohoo! Mets, we're
All
so
right.
happy to have you home.
Thank you. Yes, I was gone this weekend. I left Thursday for a trip to see my friend get married. I just got home about four and a half, like 4 hours, 4-ish hours ago, 4-ish,
And
around
directly
there.
onto the show.
Yes, and but thankfully I did my work while I was at the hotel in downtime and got all the editing done, and was all I had to do was like fix up my new sign when I got home, and simple things. But it was all ready. So I take my work with me when I can. For those who don't know, I will not be here at all next weekend. I leave out of the country and will not be here to do anything. I won't be
Should we
taking my laptop. I won't have internet. I won't have electricity for a few days.
should we break for
So
next week, or are we gonna bring in another host?
Graveyard will be hosting. We just need a guest.
Okay, I guessed
Uh,
I can do that.
but we need their information before when by Wednesday morning, so I can
That was
make sure I
yeah.
get
No,
stuff figured out.
no
If
worries.
not, then good luck. I'm so nice. Um, Anyway, what next
Next
weekend is your
weekend is
birthday,
Mix Oreo's
Mick? Oh, I'm gonna
birthday.
miss your birthday. I'm so sorry. News trivia passport
Oh,
processing time and all time high. Plan ahead. Oh well, Kevin, I got my passports came in over a month ago, so we're good. No, Metso is not hosting next week. No, I will not be here. It is okay. You'll all will survive without me. You'll be okay.
mixed send in a message to Kyber Cave, and we'll send you a keychain, a free keychain for your birthday.
Oh, yay! So mix, yeah. Just message Kyber Cave
Don't
on
get too
Facebook.
excited. It's like a $5 keychain.
Oh, for read, for
but
read.
but we do want you to know that we love you, Mix Oreo, and we appreciate you having your birthday and hanging around with us because we
Yes,
see
and I'm
you on
so
all the
sorry that I'll
shows.
miss it. So happy birthday from me now, because I won't be
Yay!
here to say it next weekend. All right, so to get started with today is the nerdy news. So
Nerdy
first on the nerdy
news.
news, we got an Ahsoka release date, which is August 23rd. If you want to check out information about Ahsoka, you can check out the article in the description below. I am so excited for this series. How about you, Van?
I am super excited for this series. I've in fact lately in honor I've been rocking an orange lightsaber lately. Which for those that know me, I am a diehard red saber man. So for my tribute lately, I've been rocking the orange saber.
I've been keeping white for Ahsoka's blades. I always have mine white because I like Ahsoka so much.
And Oreo, you
um,
are special, with or without your birthday.
yeah, you
You're
are
always special.
special. You get the keychain. No, let's keep the show together. Thank you, Say Wong. They did have this show before I joined, so don't take it. They can survive without me. It'll be okay.
We'll make it one week.
Yes, and so I'm very excited for this show. Ahsoka's such a strong character. The way Rosario Dawson plays her is very. She's just so strong and
It,
sure of herself, and I love it.
in fact, there was a really good picture my friend just sent me. If for those that were out at KyberCon 3, I had a special guest hip hop artist come out from Sacramento,
Mr. Hooper.
Mr. Hooper, and he just put up a picture with Rosario Dawson on his website. I don't know why
That's
he was
really
hanging out with
cool.
her, but he's like chilling there with her. So
That's
so you go.
that's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Hi, Mr. Hooper.
Really awesome.
All right. So next of the stories is Captain America: Brave New World set photos shared by Anthony Mackie. This is scheduled for May 23rd next year, and I say scheduled because we know how Marvel movies and TV shows go. They
Right.
often get rescheduled, and with the writer strike still kind of happening, I'm not really sure exactly what the fate of when it comes out. Hi, Duran.
Wow.
When it will actually come out, it could get delayed. They are all often Marvel projects are delayed. So
I
I'm
know
not going to say I expect it to be May next year. Who knows?
the big thing that I heard about this was the shift in costume. They were doing more costume changes because they were saying when they did Falcon and Winter Soldier, that head cowl piece that he was wearing, cowl piece was just a huge problem. So
It's
they
probably
redesigned it.
super restrictive, I would think.
Uh-huh.
Like if it's made with thick material, it can be super restrictive. Like in the 90s, the
The
Batman, the Tim
Batman.
Burton's Batmans, the neck, he could it was
Right.
like he was wearing a neck brace because it was so stiff.
With his
Um
the way it cut around his face, it was like if he would turn this way, he would get a big gap of material that would just kind of go out this way, or
it's
depending on how
amazing
he
how
turned his
far
head.
wardrobe has come since then. So sometimes, it's interesting that they didn't. I mean, do you know if when what you read about it changing? Do you know if it was like when they were shooting they had to change it? Because usually, I would think they have fittings beforehand and rehearsals in it, in a sense. But then
Right.
all of a sudden, oh no, it's just too much of a problem. I figured that
It
they would have
was
changed it
it was
earlier.
changed based on the work they had done on Falcon and Winter Soldier. So they
Oh,
had
okay,
created
for
it
the
for that,
original,
but they were just having. I mean, they made it work for that show. But
yeah.
they were saying, if because when he was wearing it in that show, they were primarily like speaking parts. But like if he were to do action and lots of movement and stuff, they said it just didn't look good on him. So
And that
they
makes
had to
sense, and I'm
redesign it.
glad that they're adjusting it for him, but, I can't spell, I just realized, so don't look at that I can't spell. I wrote s skewed. I'm so scheduled.
Oh,
Just trying to edit when I'm not at home.
we should make that a game, like a drinking game. Find the spelling mistakes in the
Oh,
episode.
from Mezzo, because Mezzo here misspells things all the dang time. Alright, so that is your nerdy news for today. Yes, and so that was plenty of fun. And then as you all know, if you watch us regularly, did you wanna say something?
I do want to say something. We just got some brand new merch in
Oh,
today,
yes,
and I want to
yes.
show off
Show
some of the
them.
newer sabers. This one's kind of cool because it has flat sides, so it's a different
Oh,
kind of
that's
a
kinda
grip.
cool. Yeah.
And this is going to be the Ignis, named after David. That was his saber fight name. And this one is going to be called the VIP. And this is
I
named for
wonder what
John.
that one's named after. John!
But this one's kind of cool because it comes with the C ring, and it came with the free belt clip too
Oh,
on it.
nice.
So yeah, so we
John,
have
the
brand new
VIP.
stuff in at Kyber Cave. Make sure to get over. These are not on the website yet, but if you come into the store, you will be able to check them out and pick them up. But they
That's
will
what
get
she
on the website
says.
soon. What's up,
Hi,
Mike
Mike.
Burger?
How are you this evening? All right, so moving on, guys. If you've seen our show, you know what's next. It's Flow of the Show from our producer James Kaiser, who every week brings us a flow that we get to be mesmerized by. So this evening, your Flow of the Show is Eric Sia, and if you'd like to catch his page, you can check out the description below. You'll see his Instagram and Facebook reels. So without further ado, here is Eric Sia. Nice. That was cool. That was fun to watch.
Darth
Hi,
Cephalus,
Danny.
aka James Kaiser. We are very, very lucky to have him as a producer. Hey, I want to show off one more thing too. We
Okay.
are 58 people away from our next Saber giveaway, and I've already determined what Saber we're giving away next.
Ooh,
Because
what is
even
that?
though I think this is a monstrosity, I know there are many people that will like it. We will be giving away this cross guard saber.
Ooh.
This is called the Dark Angel. So we are 58 subscribers away, and once we hit that 58
Is that one on the
subscribers,
site?
this is not on the site yet. This is a brand
Okay.
new one we just got in as well.
It is very big.
It is very chunky. And I'm not sure. The reason we're giving this one away is I'm not sure if we're going to sell this one at Kyber Cave. I don't know. There's some things that I'm not a big fan of with this one. And if they come up with like newer editions, I may actually sell it. But because I already bought this, and we're going to give it away. But these parts right here, you see this? This is plastic. I'm not a fan of that being plastic.
You want it to be like metal.
Right, because if you hit this thing, it's gonna shatter. Also, weirdly, they put the cover tech wheel here on the side, directly underneath here. So if you were to wear this on your belt, it would like be jabbing you in the leg.
Gotcha,
So
understood.
I've been talking to TXQ about making some changes and implementing some things. If they move this over and then get these in metal, we may actually start to sell this. But if not, I will be giving this one away on our next giveaway. 58 subscribers. I want to remind everybody about all of our stuff too.
My birthday present right there.
Come get it. I want to remind everyone we have a Patreon page. We have a Discord page. We have not only kybercave.com, but we also have kcpmerch.com. So there's lots of many things. And we also now have a TikTok page. So we're kind of all over the place.
Yeah, so I just posted links to the Discord and our KCP merch page. For the month of June, you can get 10% off your merch on a code that you see when you enter the store. So check that out, Steven. Mixed, it can be yours if you are the giveaway winner. And join our Discord, guys. We're trying to get more active, and I really enjoy. I'm in Discord every single day except for this trip coming up. But I am in Discord normally every day.
And I know we have new exclusive features there. Doesn't Frey has a series on there, doesn't she?
On Patreon.
On the Patreon, not Discord. Sorry, my bad.
Yes, and so we just had someone join our Discord now. It says Eddie Munson is their username. So hello.
Yay, thank you, Eddie Munson.
Welcome in, aka Joker. They just popped in, and that's really cool. So I'm really glad that we got someone in there. So if you know anyone who wants to join our Discord, just share the link. You should be able to from the Discord itself. Now,
thank you. And as a reminder, on our Patreon page,
okay, I thought it was you, Cam. I saw I see your Eddie Munson TikTok.
Just as a reminder, if you join our Patreon, you can join for as little as $1 a month. But we do have exclusive prizes and giveaways for every level. So at the top level, you can get a free one-of-a-kind saber once a year. It's all the way down to hoodies, T-shirts, stickers. I think we have chopsticks on there, which, by the way, for those Patreon members at the higher levels, we just recently got our KCP merch page up, which means that you can expect within the next couple weeks, you should be getting an email asking you what size T-shirt and or hoodie you want, and then we will get that mailed to you hopefully within the month. Sorry.
Yes, and then if you a reminder for those who are interested in the giveaway. You have to not won a saber in the last 6 months, and if you cannot come to the store to pick it up, you do have to pay for shipping. Hi, Mike. How are you? All right.
Shipping's like $15.
Okay, so moving on. Right. You want to introduce our guests?
Our guest for this evening. If you have been to many of or maybe any of the Northern California conventions, you probably know our dear friend Kevin Hogan. And if you don't know Kevin, I'm sure you know our guest that we have coming on tonight. This gentleman can be found all over Northern California, probably all over Southern California as well. This guy gets around. And he has fantastic costumes not just
Mhm.
of Star Wars, but of many other characters and fandoms as well. So, with no further ado, please give it up for local hero Ron E. Mullins.
Oh, nice reel. I love it.
Hey, how you doing, sir?
Hey, how are
First off,
you?
I want to thank you for being with us tonight. I know you were at an event earlier today, so there might have been a little bit of rushing to get us accommodated. So I want to thank you for that.
I'm flattered to come on. I don't mind at all. I'm a little tired, but I'm ready.
Well, you were cosplaying today as well, weren't you?
Yeah, we have our Sacramento Pride Parade and Festival, and me and a group of cosplayers dressed up. We had Hook and Freddie Mercury, and Captain Hook, Freddie Mercury. I did a trans Dumbledore, who I named Dumbledore. But I actually, yeah, if you watch the reel, I did all the names. And we did this Accio homophobia. And, I mean, I'm sorry. I totally ruined that. We did, it was Expelliarmus. Are you a Harry Potter person too?
I like Harry
Watch
Potter.
Harry Potter. The spell is we did Expelliarmus homophobia and Accio equality. And everybody was fun. It was real positive.
Did it work?
You know, there was a lot of chatter about being worried, but there wasn't even the normal. It was a good time.
Excellent. I know our good friend Anthony, who does Kyber Cave After Dark with us, he just did the Lodi Pride Festival yesterday. And we were just at the Vacaville Festival last Saturday. So it's been going on all over the place.
Yeah, we love a good party.
Well,
and,
now,
you know, I probably wouldn't have even gone, but I like to cosplay.
right.
And so wherever there's people, I am there. And I don't just dress up. I do little bits. You know, like I handed out rainbow wands with little spells on them. And, you know, I just try to have fun. You know, I love laughs and smiles.
Right. Well, now I'm
Cheesy
seeing
as that
here. I had
sounds.
mentioned in the intro that you know, if you go to a lot of cons, you probably know Kevin Hogan, and you
Oh,
were
yes.
probably the person that I see just as much at cons, right behind Kevin Hogan. Now I'm noticing over here, both Say Wong and Kevin are referring to you. Kevin says Master Luke of NorCal, and then Say Wong just called you Luke. And in the reel, we saw you as Luke. Is Luke your most known character? Oh, nice.
Let's say that Luke is a character from my number one favorite franchise. So it's a blessing because, you know, it's kind of weird, but I'm a Gen Xer, 54. We didn't call it cosplay. We had Halloween and then theme parties, right? Was an excuse to put together a costume.
Right.
So when I found cosplay, I was like, oh my gosh. But it wasn't until the prequels. I was at the prequels. I'm like, I kind of looked like Luke when I was young too. I was blonde, and he was my favorite. I loved him. I love Mark Hamill. I love all his audio work he does. So yeah, Luke is like dear to my heart, but also has been one of the most difficult in style, but in like the journey of the prequels, and then his, spoiler alert, death. And you know, that all was like very amplified. People were calling me. They were like, I thought of you when Luke died. And I was like, oh, thank you. But I don't know. Do you mind if I talk a little bit about the prequels?
Yeah, go ahead.
With Luke in the prequels, I felt like maybe I was being immature because I didn't like the way Luke was acting. Mm-hmm. And I know that it's a trope in like samurai movies and stuff where the guy kind of goes off and gets cynical, right? And then he gets uncynicaled and saves the day or whatever.
Right.
But it just bothered me to see, but I adapted adapted after the second movie came out. I made a poster that said "The Jedi Must End," and a pamphlet with all Luke's lessons to Rey. But it was because between one, Luke was lying, right? Because that was it, right? I read all the Legends, right? And it's very different in Legends. There's a huge gap in the new canon, but in Legends it kind of goes through, and Luke never really goes to the dark side. He's always really stayed optimistic and not pessimistic like he was in the second one.
Right.
So then I try to feel like, well, maybe I'm just being immature or whatever. And Johnson knows better. But then what happened was I was watching the commentary, and he said he started writing that story before he saw The Force Awakens.
Right.
And I realized the disconnectedness of the different stories. And with Lucas, Lucas is guilty of retconning as much as anybody,
Right.
But he still kind of keeps it within certain rails. So, and then they just, I was fearful and now I'm a ghost or whatever. It felt kind of cheesy.
Did you see all of Mark Hamill's behind the scene interviews, especially when he was doing the Last Jedi? It was actually kind of heartbreaking for me, because you could see that Mark Hamill loves this character. He loves Luke Skywalker, and he felt like he even had that one famous line where he said to Ryan, he says, "I don't feel like this is Luke Skywalker. This feels like Jake Skywalker. This feels like a different character altogether."
Yeah, and the lessons. See, I'm a Jedi, like in the real. I believe in something like the Force and
Red Blade for life. Red Blade for life.
Yeah. So that's Star Wars for me, is the story of the Jedi. And so, it was kind of going one way, just really did it differently in the prequels. And so we adapted to that. And then Luke just was like, oh yeah, the Jedi, they suck because they failed or whatever, And the weirdest thing is, do you read Legends?
I have not, no.
Okay. Well, there's a series towards the end before Disney bought it, and Luke is put on trial for the sins of the Jedi. His yet another Skywalker, his nephew, had gone nuts and burned half of Kashyyyk and all this stuff. And so he died, and Luke's wife died to just get rid of him, and they put Luke on trial, right? But one of the things was and they had this crazy imperial president, like she was a formal imperial, so it was almost like a Republican, kind of almost like a Bush kind of parallel. She was very and she was putting Jedi and carbonite and all this crazy stuff, and she puts Luke on trial, and all their excuses about what's so bad about Luke's talking points in the last Jedi. But regardless of whatever the writers do and the decisions that are made, Daisy Ridley, Mark Hamill, Josh Boyega, they all made it like the cosplays and the characters are beloved. Like, no one's ever come up to me and went, oh, you're ruined, Luke. I don't like you anymore. They don't even care. I've gotten into weird discussions with people angry about the direction of Star Wars.
Right.
And then I say something about, okay, so should I stop cosplaying them? And they're like, no, the costumes are still great. That's the one thing everybody agrees on.
Right.
So,
well, let me back up a little bit.
The place. But yeah, so Luke, dear to my heart, after The Last Jedi, and then The Force Awakens. I mean, the third one,
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker. Okay, and that was we all went and saw it, and then there was a pandemic, right? And it was just weird. You see a Star Wars movie, then you go to the cons, and then we all kind of decide what we think. Right now, we're all stuck at home, and we got to share it with all the edgelords, the discussion of it. I think that really brought down people's opinion of that movie. But I thought it fixed some problems, and I was fine with it. But I was gonna retire Luke, right? I was all like, I was just like, oh, I'm just tired of it, and then pandemic happened, and I was like, God, I would do anything, any costume, just to go anywhere. And then one of the first things I did as things were winding down when they were opening up again over here, you probably were there. It was over here in Sacramento at that antique store.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? And they had the guy that's the Tuscan Raider there and all that. Luke there, and I got approached by this group called Imperial Outlanders.
Yes.
And they were like, "Oh yeah," and then and I was like, "Sure, I'll join in, whatever." And they wrote, "We got a Luke," right? It just felt so good to do Luke again. And so I incorporated my walker, and I make it to where it looks like I'm floating, and I do floaty selfies.
Oh wow!
Or not selfies, but photos, with people where it looks like I'm floating. And so I kind of have this rotation. Like if it's a Star Wars event and it's within a 2, I'm there and I'm Luke. Okay.
Right.
If it's a 3-day event, one of the days I'm Luke. Okay. But I have a lot of costumes I love to wear that people love the characters, like Dr. Hammond from Jurassic Park, Professor Jones, Indiana Jones's dad. That movie's about to come back into the zeitgeist. And I do Herschel from The Walking Dead. He's and
right now, obviously, when I see you most of the time, it's usually as Luke because we are lightsabers, and it tends to be in Star Wars type events. So I've seen your Luke more than I've seen some of your other costumes. But I think you even do a couple versions of Luke, right? Don't you do Spirit Luke, as well as the last 3 episodes?
Right. Okay. So, the first movie came out and it was a real pain. Internet still, you couldn't just go get a picture from a new movie. And I got that Luke perfected, and then the second movie came out, and it looks like all weird, and he immediately changes clothes, and everybody's calling him Hobo Luke. And I didn't like that. I call it Wild Luke. But I had a friend knit that, and I put it all together, and I have that Luke. And then I have this blue light I just got because what I did was each time I purchased, because like beard, I styled the wig myself. I made the mechanical hand, which I didn't keep nearby, but myself. And the robe, none of the Lukes that they sell on any of the sites has the right gray hood robe. So that's all made by us. Then the rest was pieced together by 3 different orders. So all the stuff that didn't make the cut got dyed blue. And then I made a whole blue outfit. And then last time when you saw me, I tried to paint my face and it kept coming off. But now I'm going to mount this blue light. I'm going to mount this and do a ghost Luke like that.
Nice.
Yeah. I tried to do Crate Luke. Right. I don't know that the wig. I just couldn't get the wig right with that. With other Luke, his hair's really just kind of straight and strangly. So I just put on a wig. But like when the guys have short hair, it looks real wiggy. I don't know. I have high standards, but I've been getting more into hair pieces. I started using weave glue. A friend of mine turned me on to weave glue. That's the best way. That's how we did Freddy's armpits, chest hair, and mustache today. And so, and with Dumbledore and Gandalf, I have an extension that goes way down, clips in, that I blended in. If you wanted me to rank them, I would say like the number 1 character I got is Santa Claus. Okay. I've done that for many, many years. It's a professional thing for me. And I don't know, you come to the realization that when someone wants a picture of you with you, it's like the ultimate way of saying like, I'm glad you're here. Right. And so when you're dressed in a costume and people are like, oh, let me get your picture, you feel so like wanted, right? And it's this very unique So I always
Well-
try to like expand the experience, like, you know, like get the kids to do the hand motions. I have my lightsaber,
Of
battery
course.
dead, of course. Luke never wielded a lightsaber, but I thought he might bring this one out after episode 1 or episode The Force Awakens, and I bought
Right.
this one, and he never did. You know what I did make though? Remember when him and Ray duel and it uses a metal piece of junk?
Right.
I made that.
Nice.
I have
Hey,
that.
really quickly, you have a question here. Do you have a favorite place to get accessories or costumes from?
You know, okay, I'm kind of a hippie, and I prefer to shop in person, and I prefer to get it from local. Okay, so the first thing I do when I need something is I go to this local place here called Broadway Costumes and Accessories. Okay,
Local place. When you say local
And
place
that's
here,
where I get
where is here?
Sacramento.
Sacramento. Okay.
Yeah, Northern Cal. So, and then, you know, if they don't have it, then, you know, I'll start looking. I generally try to stick to Amazon because I just never seem to get ripped off there. But I
Right.
clicked on other sites, you know, try. One of my cute character I have is Murray Bowman from Stranger Things, and all he is just funkadelic, like velour, right? And I
Right.
thought I found these shirts, and it was taking my credit card. And every time I hit it, it charged my credit card $30. I did $90. I never got a shirt. So ordering online's tricky. The best thing to do if you want to do Star Wars costumes is to try to build it yourself. Jedi robes are really easy to sew.
I need to get myself a
Yeah.
set of Jedi robes. Ron,
I
if
know
you
one place that I go.
really, I want to talk to you about that because I need to get myself some. I personally want to do a Jedi Dooku. Have you actually? You could pull off a Jedi Dooku. Have you thought about that?
Well, because cosplay is kind of borderline an addiction for me, I've created certain boundaries, and I don't do villains.
Oh,
I only do good guys.
But
And it's not because I have anything against the villains.
No, wait. Now
because it's something to keep me. I have about 40 cosplays right now.
We can get into some serious Star Wars geekery here and debating whether Dooku is a traditional villain or not. True. I feel like he was true to the Jedi way, but he felt like the Jedi had lost their way. And that's how he was able to fall.
However, his narcissism kind of played into it, and I feel like he made some choices at the end there. He exploited all those people to do what's his name's bidding. So, yeah, I guess it depends on what point of his life, huh?
Right.
But you know who I do plan to do from Star Wars? Is Noah from the second Ewoks movie. Remember him with the glasses and the hat?
Right.
I'm gonna do him.
Nice. Eric Walker still does the cosplay scene. Have you met Eric Walker?
I think so. Is that the guy who was doing the saber?
He was well, I've seen him in a couple different Star Wars cons and stuff like that. But he was the main character boy named Mace. He was the original Mace before Mace Windu in the Ewok movie. So he's still doing
yes, that kid.
He was the little boy.
Where was he?
I saw him last in Contra Costa.
Nice. Yeah, I love that movie. You know, it's funny because we were in senior year of 8th grade going into high school when Jedi came out, right?
Right.
And it was kind of expected. I don't know why I felt this, but that we should like put away childish things when we go to high school.
Right.
So me and my geeky friends kind of went low key on in Star Wars, and we were very divided on the Ewoks themselves and then the Ewok cartoon. Like, I myself thought they were fun, but I wasn't going to buy the figures. My friend Don bought all the figures, which good on him. Now they're worth a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
So I want to back up. I want to back up a bit.
That would be a good one.
Yeah. I would love to. I
I
need
still
to get
think
a
you should do
Jedi.
Jack Black from Mando season 3.
Wow. Wow. You picked the one episode that I had controversy on. All right. I want to back up a little bit and talk to you about, because you had made an interesting comment. And this is not something that I get to talk to a lot of cosplayers about. But you had made a comment about being part of Generation X, which I am part of as well, and how when we were younger, this whole cosplay thing didn't exist. And I started Kyber Cave roughly 5 years ago. In fact, in 2 more weeks, Kyber Cave will be 5 years old. Um, and at that time, I had seen this huge rise in cosplay, and cosplay had been rising for 10, 15 years before that. But it seems like now, whereas maybe when we were younger, if we were to dress up like our favorite character, your friends would laugh at you and call you a geek or a nerd. But it seems so much more socially acceptable now to just put on a Spider-Man costume or go dressed as one of your favorite Nickelodeon characters. What do you think caused that change?
Good question. I visualize it because I see let's just talk about Halloween. Okay, you're Gen X. You remember her, right?
The plastic mask that would cut your eyeballs.
It would cut your eyes. It would pinch your cheek. The staple would get caught in your hair. And it was like an okay mask, but then it wasn't even the outfit. It was like an Ewok mask and then an Ewok holding a spear on your chest.
Right. Didn't even look like the costume.
Bad. And I watched from that, because before that, my mom was sewing me hobo costumes and stuff, and we had real costumes. And then it seemed like Ben Cooper evolved every year, and other businesses were and so I believe it's capitalism, because what better way to waste money than to make somebody spend hundreds of dollars on an outfit they only wear 4 times a year, right? Right? Good money.
Right.
But then also geek culture in of itself, the monetization of geek culture. What brought cosplay into my consciousness back, because like I said, I was costumer, as it were, and as I got older, if you go to the gayborhood, as it were, the Friday and Saturday closest to Halloween was crazy. Literally, it was cosplay way before. It's high makeup and costuming, and these people go all out, and the $500 prize. I won a PlayStation for my my partner crocheted me a Yoda head. And it was funny because they were all cheering for it was a Star Wars thing in the gay bar, and they were all cheering for the sexy Sith. But the drag queen knew all the work I put into it, and she gave it to me.
Right.
But okay, so I think that there was gay culture costuming, and a lot of people wanted to get in on that. But overall, the availability of makeup, costume stores, all just kind of grown. And the reason why is, who doesn't like to transform into someone else? Right. It's a magical thing. And so but what brought it into my consciousness in the context of cosplay, that word, and then literally crunching for cons and going and dressing up and doing photo ops as people, was going into contests early on. I don't do that anymore. Was Heroes of Cosplay on Sci-Fi Channel.
Right.
When I heard the word cosplay, I thought it was LARPing. Literally, I was picturing people dressing up and then playing out a script, right?
Right.
And I was never into LARPing. I tried it, right? And I was just not a LARPer. And so, so that was it. And so when I watched Heroes of Cosplay, but then what else kind of brought mainstream into cosplay and geek and comics is that show, Big, for better or for worse. I feel people like my niece. My niece is just she's a cute little photographer with a kid. she's not a geek. She loves Disney, but she knows everything about geeks because that was her favorite show, and we relate on that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think that show might have helped bring it up, and then the bringing back of everything we've ever loved is coming back, right? So we can. Every time I watch a show, I'm always watching the beards, watching the hair. Maybe do I want to cosplay them?
Right. I had Anthony. Anthony is a regular on our Kyber Cave After Dark, but when I first met him, we were doing another live stream. It was about cosplay. We're doing a live cosplay build here at the show. And I was talking to somebody online. I had the camera, and we were talking about the history of cosplay. And I had wondered, because we were talking about how like drag queens were it seemed like we're kind of cosplayers. So I wanted to find an interview. I wanted to interview somebody who did drag and also did cosplay to ask them the difference. However, one of the things that we did not discuss that I had never thought of until you just brought it up was how I guess the history of gay culture may have also influenced the wearing of costumes on an everyday basis for fun as well. Because before Halloween, I mean, I can only really think of drag queens and maybe your theme parties once in a while.
And Pride. Everybody's always costuming at Pride since
Right.
'98 when I first went. Yeah.
Right. I know for Kyber Cave, what was very interesting is I feel like The Force Awakens is what kind of made a shift in the consciousness from Star Wars being a nerdy thing to Star Wars being a cool thing, right? It was around The Force Awakens where you started seeing, like the hot women in R2-D2 dresses, and you know what I mean? It was no longer just for the nerds. It was more into the popular culture. That was also the time when you saw the explosion of all these lightsaber companies, because they realized that before that it was just kind of a underground market. What's up, Patrick? It was kind of an underground thing, and then after Disney took over, it seemed to go more mainstream.
Yeah, well, you know what? In my experience too, like biology was nerds, and then it was just books and the little low-end cartoons, and but the prequels, I think
the sequels,
everybody primed for what we saw in The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is the prequels, the children that were brought up on the prequels kind of for them, you know what I mean? So over time, it's become that shift in it being cooler to be into Star Wars during the prequels.
Right.
But then there was a lull, and then The Force Awakens, and for me, that was the beginning of cosplay. I like I said, dressed in very elaborate costumes for Halloween, and then I did Santa Claus. But when I saw Luke up there and I started putting it together, and then I went to a May 4th party and everybody was into it, and then I started getting into it. And then I had already had a Gandalf costume.
Right.
And so after I did a con and it was so fun, everybody was so positive, then I busted out Gandalf. And then I put together Dumbledore. And then then I was like, I want one from every IP. Right? So like for Marvel, I have Odin. DC, I made a Rorschach, even though it kind of breaks my villain thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never got the mask where I like it. So I don't really have a DC, but I have Star Wars.
Have you seen they actually make Rorschach masks that change and move? Have you seen those?
I have seen those, and they're pretty cool. And I think what I'm trying to do, I want to get one of those and maybe use a Spider-Man face shell.
Yeah.
Because something about just putting a mask over your face like that doesn't work.
I don't like that myself. I get claustrophobic.
Yeah, so I'm
hey,
playing
really
around
quickly,
with that.
There was a comment here from Kevin Hogan that I'd like to get your thoughts on. He says, I feel cosplay and Comic-Cons are also kind of filling in the role of modern day art shows that average people can relate to.
Yes, I actually call us mummers. You know what mummers are?
No idea.
They would go into the square and dress in costumes and sing and dance and entertain the people. Yeah.
Right, right.
And it's filling in too. Like clowns have gone to the wayside, and now it's all princesses, superheroes, Star Wars, for better or for worse. But yeah, there's like clowns used to be the go-to for birthdays and so forth, and now it's princesses and Disney characters and all that.
Right. Well, now, here's another question. So here's a comment from Say Wong, but it's going to evolve into a question that I have for you. Say Wong says it went from, when are these people going to grow out of this, to this is pretty great. Now, do you see, I feel like right now, and maybe it's just because of where we are in California, but I often get people who are like, oh my God, because here in California, you can literally go to a convention every single weekend. You could probably go to two events every single weekend. In fact, Kevin Hogan, who is our Comic-Con producer, he goes to a different, at least one or two every single weekend. Do you feel like there's going to get a point where people burn out? Are there too many conventions? Or is this something that you can see still being around 30, 40 years from now, just as strong?
Well, the other thing that helps all of this geek culture and costumes is selfie culture and phones. That's a big driver in cosplay.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that. For
people wanting to go to a place where there's cosplayers, for people wanting to cosplay. And so, and that's the biggest thing. Like, anybody who would be like, why do you do that? If they look on my Facebook and they watch the little videos, all of a sudden now they're cheering me on and they're like, I want to cosplay. They don't realize that you're literally like you're like a Disney character at Disneyland. I'm sorry, what was that question again?
Well, I was asking, do you think that this is kind of a trend or that's going to die out, or do you think it's going to get bigger?
Just before COVID, it was getting oversaturated. People were getting fatigued, and I noticed a weird kind of dipping in people's enthusiasm with cons and their postings and everything else. And then COVID hit and we lost everything. No sports, no movies, blah, blah. And I was kind of aware that after COVID was over, the cons were going to be more beloved and important than ever. And the last year has shown I was right. People are just so happy to be out, right?
Right.
And the cons are popping. And maybe it'll last a few more years, but there's only so much geek money to go around. And it's hard. Like, again, in boundaries. My boundaries for cons is I won't go more than 2 hours in the car. And then I always say, like, invite me to your con and I might come. Comp me to your con and I will come. And and I try to get out every other week. I was doing every week before COVID, and it was burning me out. And I've had to temper my return because sciatica really bad up and down my leg, and it just really affects my ability to walk, my ability to sit, everything else. So trying to build up stamina, right? So like I always go to the SAC animes. Are you familiar with the Ohana cons?
Right. Yeah. I love Ohana cons.
Yeah, the biker guys. Yeah, Ziggy. I'll go to those when they're in town. They always comp me, and they're always sweethearts. So
right.
And I buy toys. I like to buy toys.
Right.
I collect Yodas. That's another thing is I don't collect all Star Wars.
Right.
But I collect some Lukes, but mainly Yodas. I bought this one and then I painted it up myself.
Love it. Buddha Yoda.
I grabbed it. But yeah, I also think, though, like I said, a finite amount of geek dollars, but I think there's more people than just geeks now going into this.
Right.
So depending on it, because one of the things about cons that's a little weird is geeks are pretty docile overall in mass.
Right.
And so some of the cons you go to and they're just screaming at you, get it live. They're kind of jerks, some of the people running the cons and stuff. And I
Right.
can't imagine like people who demand good service, putting up with that, right? So I think
Right.
there is a bubble where cons, especially when they get more and more packed, and the lines around the building and all that fun stuff.
Right. So you could, I mean, yeah, even with what Kevin's talking about, you can spend up to $100 for a weekend. That's just to get into the con itself. Do you feel like it's becoming too commercial?
That's a hard one. In a capitalist society, everything's
Everything gets that way.
and you're complaining about Star Wars. In my day, like I said, we got Star Wars. They had like Han Solo at Star's End. I mean, this stuff may not be perfect they're putting out, but it's content, and it's content being taken seriously, and they're trying to do a continuity. The old Legends was all over the place, right? And then
Right.
didn't really try to kind of amalgamate into some kind of continuity till after the prequels, when we found out how the Jedi ended up the way they did. So yeah, and but that's kind of this is what makes it hard, because so I'll go to a con and I'll do 80 photo ops. Okay, that's work. Okay,
Right.
for Santa Claus, that's a big paycheck. Okay, so I do it for free. Sometimes I pay to get in. I do it because I like to do content on my TikTok. I do it because I need to get out, and because I've been hermiting, and so it's a form of like therapy for me. It's my social. It's kind of my church now. You know what I mean? That one place
Right.
that I still go to, and so I'll always go to cons, and I think if it bursts, there's some people that are not going to make as much money, but I think, if it keeps growing, yeah, the commercialism will be so pervasive that it's be way less enjoyable. But
I
right
hadn't
now,
really thought about it until now. Say Wong has a comment here. He says, now that it's come to, if you want to go for an affordable price, you have to commit to pre-registering. And that's got me thinking about a lot of people's complaints about Disneyland, right? When we were growing up, Disneyland was like the dream, right? Like that was the American family dream, was to go take a vacation in Disneyland. Now, unless you really map out your day and you buy all the right, bands and registrations, and you do everything, you can't just go and have a good time. It takes a lot of work to have a good time.
I haven't been in years, and we got passes comped, and I still haven't gone since the Star Wars Land opened, because of that reason. Because it was like, okay, we got tickets, but what about housing? What about tickets for this? What about food?
Right. Fast pass.
It's still going to be $500, even if we have free tickets. So, but I love Star Wars. I'm glad there's a Star Wars Land, and I don't know. At first, I was happy that Disney was hiring people like J.J. Abrams and just letting them do their thing and not really controlling them. But in the end, I got kind of mad that they played this patchwork with them. I'm not a fan of Rian Johnson. Yeah. And I decided later that it wasn't me. I wasn't being immature, but that he actually doesn't like Star Wars fans. And he wrote this here, your precious Luke.
That could be, you and I could have a whole discussion on the last three movies and where I felt they could have done better. For better or worse, people may say George Lucas was terrible at writing dialogue. George Lucas maybe had some continuity errors.
That was part of the magic.
I will say at least he had a written out thought for his movies. It was not like, that's what I felt like happened with the last three movies. It was just like, all right, let's just get in there and do whatever we want. You know what I mean? There was no clear thought from beginning to end. I really think even if they had three directors, J.J. Abrams should have had kind of an outline for how the entire series was to go.
Yeah, and so this guy, he just gets to make up a Star Wars movie, and he doesn't even see the most recent one. That's what got me with that Rian Johnson did that. And but let's go positive. I love all the shows. I think,
Yeah.
like Grogu. I own about 8 Grogus. I'm down with that. And Ahsoka. What's the next thing? Is it not till August? Ahsoka.
Ahsoka's till August. Yeah.
I thought they were going to keep us in perpetual Star Wars, but it's going to be a minute till Ahsoka.
We need to have a dedicated video regarding the sequel trilogy. Yeah, we should definitely talk about that. This is crazy. Ron, we are right near the end of our interview. I can't believe that ran so fast.
You have me on time. I could go on.
Is there anything
I
you
really
want to
enjoyed this, and I'm very flattered that you had me on, because I didn't even know you did this. And I was like, when you told me, I thought it was just like a little show, but you got a producer.
Hey man, this show's been running for like
sure.
We've been running for 2.5 years, and the show started pretty much about the lightsaber industry, but then we opened it up to cosplay in general, because I mean the two kind of go hand in hand. And of course on this segment, right after this, Kevin Hogan does a segment called California Convention Report. So every week he'll tell you about what convention just happened and what conventions are up and coming. So see, you got a reason to tune in every week. You can find out about all the happenings.
This is fun. This is really good.
I definitely wanted to talk to you, because you are somebody that, I mean, I've seen around for years, when at different conventions here and there. You're always fun to talk to. I always love watching the little kids come up and want to take a picture with Luke Skywalker. And you've always got a great attitude. So, I figured it was your time to shine.
well, thank you, because, there's rumors around about me that I don't. I have haters, just like everybody. And so, but what do? You can't go around a con going, hey, I'm really nice. Right? So this is a nice way to get people to know that I'm not really like Luke in the second movie.
Well, I've had a fantastic time. Is there anything you would like to, any thought you want to leave people with, or maybe people that are new into cosplay?
Okay. Well, first off, follow me on TikTok, 80s Pop. I've been trying to get that going. I've recently been posting videos that I recorded in 1987, and soon I'm going to have excerpts from the Stouffer's Concourse Hotel Con, and me and my friends sitting around talking about the Kirk Spock shipping things that we all saw. For cosplay, if you want to get into cosplay, you just I go on and I just look at the character and I try to figure out what they say and wear what they wear. But a lot of times it's just about color palette, blocking, and like with my beard, I could look like any of those guys just by painting the right shape. Like Luke is here, Dr. Hammond's all white, so work with what you got. That's what I just started doing. It was like doing and my number one thing is, don't ever get hung up in the groups. If you want to join a group, fine, but if you find that they're like their standards or they're too pressury or anything like that, don't get caught up, because that could be very demoralizing. Some of the,
it's supposed to be for fun.
Yeah, it's supposed to be for fun, and I do it for fun, and I do it town. Did you see the video where I was doing the lightsaber training at Fairy Tale Town?
Right.
And my new thing I added is banter. Mm-hmm. I teach the kids banter. I'm like, okay, you could go in and you could tell the villain, this ends now.
Right.
They're all, this ends now. It's really fun. Yeah. And and I write songs too to go with my characters. Did you hear any of my songs?
No, I have not.
No. Okay, so I'm doing Luke as a children's host, and he goes, it flows through you, it flows through me, it binds together every living thing. I am one with the Force, and the Force is with me. May the Force be with you too. And I got a few others.
Barney would be proud.
Yeah. I was like kind of doing like a Mr. Rogers meets Luke, like maybe before he went to the island gram. And so I've been playing with that. And then we're doing fun stuff with the comic book store I like to go to. I do little promos for them just because, yeah, I love that place and I want them to do good. And that Shatterpoint game was really fun.
Right.
Did you see that?
Yes.
Yeah. So I gotta go.
Yeah. I want to thank you for hanging out with us tonight, especially for after you spending all day in the sun out there today. It has been an absolute pleasure. Every time I see you out on the scene, it's always good to see you. I'm this next weekend. We are going to be at Juneteenth here in Fairfield. It's not a con; it's an event, so it's not.
Oh yeah, I know Juneteenth.
Yeah. So, and then I'm not sure where we're gonna be, but I know that I'm gonna run into you somewhere eventually. I always do.
Yeah, I might go to Sinister next week. It's a little expensive. I'm not a big horror person, but there's a couple people there that I like stars, like Jay Muse. I love Jay.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to be. I really want to get into Sinister, but I don't know what happened. We weren't able to get in there. But hopefully next year. But I'm trying to get on more and more of that con circuit. So,
but yeah, all the cons around, I'll be going to. And if you ever do another Kyber con, let me know. Luke will be there.
Yes, sir. And Graveyard, yes, Sinister Creature. That Graveyard saying horror. Sinister Creature Con is next weekend in Sacramento. All right, Mr. Ron E. Mullins, thank you so much. I appreciate you always.
Thank you. Mezzo, thank you. Bye, everybody, thank you.
Peace. All right, man.
Oh my gosh, I'm huge. No. Yeah, for those who actually don't know, it's mezzo. The way it's pronounced. Because it's Italian from mezzo soprano, because I sing opera. Anyway, but that was fun. I enjoyed it. I got to enjoy listening. There were times where I did forget to click a comment because I was just listening. Anyway, thank you very much, Ron, for coming on our show. Very much enjoyed that. I actually got to meet him for like a split second last year at the May 4th event in Sacramento. That's where I got those pictures from that I showed real quick. If you want them, Ron, I'd be more than happy to send those ones to you. I took them with the nice Sony cameras, so they're pretty good quality. Anyway, so thank you so much. Don't worry, everyone. The beard is back.
And we are excited to have Graveyard back from his vacation.
I am so happy because Graveyard is literally one of those people that I talk to daily pretty much. And so when we both went on trips at the same time, it was like I didn't get to talk to Graveyard at all. And like pretty much it felt like nothing that we got to talk for like 2 days. And if it was anything, it was like a single message. And I'm like, where's my beard? One of my premier sons. Fear the beard. He is a fear the beard.
We need to get that on t-shirts. Fear the beard.
I need to start working on other things for our merch. We're planning to have t-shirts for all of our shows and such. And so we just gotta get working on that. A Fear the Beard one would be fun. I think it'd be kind of fun to have this literally Graveyard. This just popped in my head. It's a shirt. Because when we do beard talk, it's usually specifically Force and Graveyard that we talk a lot about when it comes to beards.
You know, okay, wait. Before you go into this, Mets, you should explain to people who don't know. I feel like this is a Kyber Cave thing. What a beard is and why that's like a thing with us.
So the thing with the beards is, so when, especially like beard in the chair is a term that we say on the show for when we're playing a game. And the beard in the chair kind of helps you, if you get stuck, helps you along. And once I even
took the role he's like Ned to Spider-Man.
Yes, and so, the person, the guy in the chair. And so one day, I even jokingly called myself Lady Beard in the chair. I met Aubrey. I was playing with Aubrey a game that I had already played, and so then without her knowing, I grabbed a beard and put it on. But that's the reference. is they're the beards in the chair. So when we talk about beards in the chair and beards in the show, a lot of it has to do with Graveyard, who has this long, fantastic beard, and Forrest, who recently had to shave his, but it's grown back out. And I think it'd be kind of cool to have a black shirt with a white outline of one face being Forrest and one side being Graveyard, and a beard, and then saying "Fear the Beard" like underneath. That'd be kind of fun.
I've noticed lately on their Thursday nights, it was Crimson, who is the son of Fours, had been on there. So it was Graveyard, Fours, and Crimson. And I was like, oh my God, you guys look like ZZ Top.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was like the one young guy with no beard, and then the two old guys with beards.
All right, we can get a Fear the Beard neon sign. I wouldn't have that on my background because I'm not.
Brian Wilson, formerly of the SF Giants, patented that quote.
Oh, that's funny. Well, we can't use it then, unfortunately. We can use beard in the chair, though.
Right, beard in the chair.
I don't think that's patented at all. All right, so moving on with our show, you guys, we know I have Kevin Hogan, who is one of our producers who goes to conventions every week and gives us a report. We will see how next week will go, because since I won't be here, hopefully he's able to finish his editing before I leave. But here, check out what Kevin Hogan has to say and about cons coming up.
Hello everyone, this is Kevin Hogan from Northern California, an episode of California Comic-Con Adventures. On this past weekend of June 4th, 2023, was the release of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie. There were Spider-Man gatherings all across the country there. I myself was walking around as Dr. Octopus, meeting lots of Spider-Man cosplayers here and there. It was really fun there. I was seeing lots of Spider-Man gatherings all around the place there. Cosplay gatherings is a great idea when there aren't too many Comic-Cons itself going on, just like this past weekend, where you can meet up at local parks where there's like free parking, or nearby local movie theaters, which is a great idea when there's new movies that are related to your cosplays, like in this case going on there. Brings a lot of joy to people coming and going there. You get to do mashup pictures that aren't normally seen in movies there. If it's helpful, if you have like a photographer nearby to take some pictures there. So it's a really fun activity to hang out with some friends to do there for fun. And for those of you looking forward to future events there, I definitely want to check out all the spooky costumes and vendors. It's going to be up in the Sacramento area of the Scottish Rite Center June 17th through the 18th at Sinister Creature Con. And our friends over at Ohana Comic Con that travel up and down the state in a different Comic Con every weekend on June the 18th are going to be in Pacifica. And for those of you down in Southern California near the Corona area, on June the 24th through the end of June is going to be the Cronenberg Renaissance Fair there. And also the Weekend Blender Comic-Con, that is a free event in malls on the weekend June 24th through the 25th, is going to be in the Citrus Heights area there. So looking forward to that at the Sunrise Mall. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the picks, and we'll see you out there at the countdown.
Thank you, Kevin Hogan, for that report, guys. Yeah, don't forget to check out all that, all the stuff coming up. Thank you so much, Kevin Hogan, we were very lucky to be able to have you you're going to all those conventions and giving us a report. He says it's still a good idea to check with local place if doing cosplay gathering to make if you want to go inside, but they'll likely say it's fine so as long as you're not blocking businesses. Yes, and not blocking things like fire exits and such. All right, so guys, don't forget before we end our show to check out the other shows that we have on our channel. If you'd like to check them out, check in the description below. We actually have a show every day of the week. Monday is an upload, not a live stream, and it's Retro Alcove, just to remind you. But the rest of the week, we actually have live streams every day. And I will miss you all while I am gone. I will do my Wednesday morning gaming stream, but after that, I am gone I don't come back until Tuesday. So when it comes to Hearts of Kyber as well, we might have to figure out thumbnail and definition card kind of thing.
Oh yeah. Or we can get somebody else to do it too.
Like either we figure out beforehand or someone else does it. So we'll figure out that later. That's all business stuff behind the scenes. I know. Say Wong, what will we do? You will survive without me, and I will be back after. And I just want to tell you guys about a guest that I'm very excited about. It's not until July 2nd. His name is Jesse Cox. He is a YouTuber with almost 1 million subscribers. He is a gamer. He goes to press things and conventions all the time. And if you guys want to check him out, Jesse Cox, Jesse, last name Cox. My husband and I actually watch. He plays with 3 of his good friends. They're also like YouTubers and do film and stuff like that, and like gaming things. And they have a series called Scary Game Squad, and they play scary games. And they sit together, have a few beers, and play a game. And it's really fun. And it feels like you're hanging out with friends. I think that's my favorite part, is that you feel like you're hanging out with friends. So I'm really excited about that one.
2nd?
What was that?
You said that's July 2nd?
Yes, that is July 2nd.
I got to book out the next 2 weeks then.
Yes, you did. Santa Cruz. How much fun is that, Jedi? More like, what will Van do?
Yeah, basically.
He will have a co-host for Van. Graveyard will be on here with Van subbing for me. So thank you very much, Graveyard, for stepping in for that. Love Gravy. Gravy. I don't usually call him that, but it just, like, I was trying to sing like Grave Beard, and like just kind of came out. That makes me hungry. I had biscuits with sausage gravy this morning, and it was so dang good. All right, so enough blabbing.
Do not forget to please to share this video. Get some more of your friends to like and subscribe. We are 58 people away from giving away a saber, a crossguard saber, this next time.
Yes, it's very exciting. So don't forget to share it and tell people about it. Van, if you would send me a picture of that saber, I'd appreciate it, and I can share about it and such. Just not now, just when you can.
Yeah, when we get closer.
Where to go?
Where the hell did you go?
You need to take a picture.
When we get closer to the 58 or to the next subscriber list too, I'll definitely do that. But it's just going to be sitting out there.
All right, guys. Enjoy your talk of the town, and we will see you later. Bye.
Adios, you piece of toast.